Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl in your face while you're sleeping. The statistics are truly staggering. According from the reports from the ASPCA, there are more than 7.9 million pets that have been placed in different shelter homes across the United States. Out of all of them, only 2.7 million of these are adopted. Which means that if you're a cat or dog lover, you'll be shocked to know that only 37% and 35% of cats and dogs respectively find a comfortable home to live in. Nevertheless, there are still people out there with hearts of gold that make sure animals that have been injured or tortured are provided with the best possible care. With that being said, let's take a look at 10 of the most inspiring animal rescue stories that will truly touch your heart. Number 10. Bunny the Pitbull. When Bunny was rescued, it was discovered that her owners had actually abandoned her on a remote stretch of land, which makes you wonder, just who was cruel enough to do this to an adorable, sweet pitbull like Bunny? She was actually rescued by the organization Hope for Paws, whose job it is to look after animals that are seemingly scared and hungry. Because she was entangled on a fence, the rescuers took serious precautions to ensure that they successfully removed her from underneath the fence so they wouldn't impale her in the process. At first, when her rescuers saw her, they thought she was some kind of monster. But on closer inspection, they discovered that the cold, shivering, and scruffy pit bull was just an unfortunate, neglected soul that needed love. Number 9. Landis the Pitbull. The owners of this unfortunate pup were so cruel to him that when rescuers found him, they couldn't help but shed a tear from the horrors they were witnessing. First of all, he was kept in a cage that was exceedingly small for his body, despite the fact that he was a pup experiencing growth. As a result, the dog developed quite a small frame. His legs and spine were so deformed that he barely looked like a dog. It's no wonder that his cruel and heartless owners even called him Gargoyle. Fortunately, Landis' subjection to cruelty and torture came to an end when he was rescued by an amazing shelter in New York City that provided him with the right treatment to recover. Thank God for the rescuers, because I don't think this poor pup would have endured another month in this sadistic home. Number 8. Toothless the Shetland Sheepdog. What would you do if it was your shift at a factory and you found an unfortunate malnourished dog languishing away behind one of the corners? Well, that's exactly what Cody Leitenheimer discovered when he was at his place of work, coming across a poor, toothless, and malnourished animal that was completely covered in fleas. The dog was suffering unbearably, even having fistulas and ulcers in its mouth. Unfortunately for the dog, he was discovered by a pretty good guy who took him in and completely transformed his life. Now the pup couldn't be happier. Number 7. Daisy the French Mastiff. Kelly, a volunteer rescuer at a shelter, had worked for months to convince a beautiful, gorgeous French Mastiff to be receptive to her approaches. That's because the dog had been abused by his owners so badly that she did not want to have anything to do with human interaction. But a little patience and persistence can go a long way. So, one day that all changed when a simple hero stretched out her hand to her. What occurred after that moment is another beautiful rescue story, where Daisy allowed Kelly to pet her for the very first time in months. Number 6. Pepper the Stray Dog. In 2014, a man walked into his backyard to see that a homeless stray had curled up there. The dog looked extremely defeated, weak, and hungry. But the man persisted in giving her some food, to which she responded by eating what she was offered. This was the beginning of a strong bond and friendship that lasted for years, with Pepper gradually improving and becoming the best version of herself. The fleas disappeared, her skin looks healthy once more, and most importantly, her fear is gone. Now this dog has a warm home and a loving family. Number 5. Thorn the Baby Squirrel. While we mostly covered domestic animals, there have been some truly soul-touching rescue animals in the wild. One particular consisted of a group of wildlife enthusiasts who responded to what they thought was unusual bird call. Much to their shock and surprise, they found a poor, defenseless baby squirrel hanging from a tree. While the video might be shocking, the squirrel was successfully saved, fed, and nurtured back to health. And from the story, we can clearly tell that the rescuers have a big heart. Number 4. Arthur the extreme sports enthusiast. What would you do if you came across a dog that has an undying will to live? Well, that is exactly what happened to Michael Lindnerd, a member of a Swedish extreme sports team. He saw a stray dog following them one day. He offered the dog a meatball and got the surprise of his life. The dog's name is Arthur. Arthur went to incredible extremes to find his forever home, including crossing a freezing river. His story will definitely inspire you. My question is, why isn't this a Hollywood movie yet? Number 3. Pig the short-spined mix. Pig was born with a rare genetic short spine condition. So far, records report only 8 dogs having this syndrome. And while he might not look like it, he is truly man's best friend in every other aspect of the phrase. Also, he is quite the famous puppy because of how jovial and active he is despite his disability. This rescue puppy has even inspired a whole new rescue service named after him. So now we've come to the best pick of the day. This has to be one of the bravest men on the planet for having the guts to rescue a jaguar. But wait a minute, are they crossing a river? I thought jaguars were powerful and efficient swimmers. So, unless it's a cub, there is no way a fully grown jaguar would be scared of wading in the water. Number 2. Benny the horse. It baffles me how people can treat animals cruelly, let alone a horse. Horses are some of the most endearing animals in the world, so how can someone mistreat them? Well, Benny the horse was a poorly taken care of creature who was discovered on the brink of death from starvation right in the middle of a field. Thankfully, the rescue group that discovered him, the Last Stop Horse Rescue, nursed him back to health, allowing the animal to make some truly miraculous transitions into the beautiful horse that he has always been. Number 1. Timber the Pitbull. Last and certainly not least, we have Timber the Pitbull. Just look at that gorgeous, smiling petite. Is there any way that this amazing animal can be ignored? Timber's gentle disposition proves that stereotypes about pit bulls being aggressive are just untrue. Unfortunately, someone really abused poor Timber, who was found abandoned on the side of the road with a gunshot wound in his head. You must be a hellspawn or something to do such a despicable act of cruelty to an animal. But with that being said, we've come to the end of this video. So which one of these touching animal rescue stories inspired you to rush down to the shelter and adopt a pet today? Let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell to get your daily dose of enriching content.